see where you at in your game. One more, get up there and freestyle. If you got it.
Yeah, social media is whack because niggas really think they have it when they don't know.
4, 3, 2.
Check that one out. Check that one out.
Good?
Nice polo, man. I won't lie.
Good?
I'm good.
Manny?
Y'all good?
Good?
I don't care. Yeah, we're good, bro.
Alright.
Let's go.
I was best looking. Nice shot here.
Yo, get out of here.
What you get?
Huh?
What you get?
Bet you.
Most likely to improve.
Massaquoi, please.
On popcorn?
That's not bad. It's pretty good.
Not bad, bro.
We're good.
What sandwich did you get, man?
Veggie with avocado.
Yo! This is Eat with Patrick Blackwood, but this time it's a locker room edition, and I got my guys with me.
Jonathan Massaquoi, Atlanta Falcons. What's happening?
Max Ritchie, Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go.
Manny Rodriguez, U48 Performance, Building.
Man,
Let's
listen,
go.
this is actually an awesome feeling right here, having my group of guys. It's like brotherhood here. You feel me? Getting a locker room vibe is always a great thing because, you know, a lot of shit happens in the locker room, behind the scenes, out of football or a basketball game, whatever. This is where we all come as a group as together and share that brotherhood. I'm glad to have you guys here. I'm really glad.
No,
I'm
this
really
is cool.
glad, for real. This is
dope.
dope.
This is dope.
This is the first time I'm actually doing this, so this is really cool. Man,
I think the funny thing is, the locker room was actual for real for you guys at Central. Like you played together in high school. That's actually fine.
Yeah.
All the coaches that I played for that played together, they were just the coolest ones because you could see the brotherhood and you fucked with them. We had like 2 coaches on staff that were teammates at BC, so it was it's fun like to have you guys in that vibe.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead and speak up, man.
I was about to say, do you remember the locker room experience at Central?
Well, the years have passed by, you know, but I do remember, you know, some moments where we did have to come together as teammates. You know, we all had a formulated bond, you know, coming out of middle school together. Manny was in Collinsville and then came over there to Central and stuff like that. And, you know, just those days where it was, you know, we had a group of older guys who actually grew up together. And, you know, they were like second generation Central Gwinnett football players, you know, all the way from our quarterback, all the way to the receiver, to the linebacker core. And so kind of watching those guys and how they bonded and how it was kind of like, you know, you had to go through so much to be initiated and respected, you know, so it kind of, you know, raised our level of intensity, our play, and wanted to build that camaraderie with one another. So it was kind of cool, you know, it was kind of cool going from, you know, man, I'm trying to make the JV squad my freshman year. I'm trying to get varsity. And we had a tremendous amount of talent, man. We had guys like Rolando Dyer, you know, Logan Hunt, who was our quarterback, you know, of course, Manny Rodriguez, myself, Bryce Smith, Keandre Banks, you know, it's a long list of guys, you know, who came through that locker room who, you know, to this day, we're still really cool.
It was always funny because, I mean, hazing was a real thing in the locker room. But I loved it just because it made you tougher, you know, it was like, it was a tradition. So a lot of times nowadays you don't see a lot of traditions in locker room, either because a lot of people are moving, or they're not really teammates, they're more of I. Now you see a lot of eyes, but we're really a team, and you know, seniors pick on the freshmen, but then all that really is getting them ready for that, you know, that role in the future, you know, getting them tough. Doesn't mean they hate you, it just means, hey, you know, this is the initiation, right? Initiation.
I mean, it's good that you got a good experience from hazing, but it doesn't have to be hazing to tell a senior to tell a freshman how to be a real man, you know?
Yeah.
It could be other ways, you're right. I think the system has gotten soft, but like, it can be other ways.
Yeah.
that's a great
But
topic.
hazing is a good point though, because niggas, I mean, guys just
talk here, sure.
guys just like to be in that violence, that dumb shit, you know. So like, it's cool.
Right.
But overall, you know, people would be like, that's harmful to teach kids in that way, you know.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah, I get what you're saying, Max, but at the end of the day, you gotta think about it like this. A lot of people that does not have a father or not have a mother, they're missing those kind of character traits. You know what I'm saying? So they have to look out somewhere else.
Right.
And so needing that actually helps and groom a lot of guys to be tough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very tricky, but at the end of the day, you think about it like this: when they back home, they're right back in that same shell.
Yeah.
So you gotta think about all this mental health, how to be a man, and how to stand up for yourself, how to speak up for yourself.
Right.
Stand up, you know? So
But wouldn't you say hazing contributes to the wrong side of mental health?
yeah,
And obviously at some point.
right.
Well, that's why they have fraternities on college campus. You know, it's the same thing. It's kind of like if I can show humiliation and be embarrassed in front of guys who are becoming my brothers, then they'll also stand up for me at my weakest point,
Right.
and not try to demoralize me at my highest point. You know, so it really,
Wow, yeah.
you know, it really kind of it's an even keel balance. You know, now there's some guys who do haze, you know, young men and really tap into their mental, and it resets them because they're traumatized and it triggers something. But you know, back then it was just a different way of life, grit football, you know, blood in, blood out type thing.
Right.
Versus now, you know, it's just kind of like, hey, you know, I'm receiving this treatment because I feel like an outcast, and that's because number one, it starts with societal views. You know, now everybody's a Me Too movement. You know what I mean? Everybody's this happened to me.
Yeah.
Well, I need this.
Talk your shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you get through that threshold, just believe you're gonna have respect, especially if you show that performance on the field. You're gonna have respect amongst, you know, your adolescence crew that's literally going to transpire into your adult life.
Yeah. But you remember we used to have in that same locker room. We were coming in to that Central with that team, but 6 lines, right? 6 lines basically are stretch lines. So you have seniors in the front, right? There's 6 lines, and basically when you do your drill and you run through that line, and they catch it loafing, they may stick out shoulder. So it was violent. It was like, BAM! Now next thing you know, you're on the ground. Like, you know, you'll do A skips, boom, 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 sprint, you going through the line,
And this is before practice stretch lines?
stretch line. The seniors were up
Oh
front.
yeah.
So then sometimes, you know, if Massaquoi was in the front, not saying that he did it, but you're a senior, you felt like hitting the kid, you'll, you know, throw him in the bag. But what happened was, like, we came in, we were really good. So a lot of times they weren't gonna hit Massaquoi, he was 6'2", you know. Or if they did, he'll be like, oh yeah, let's go, you know. He'll handle it the right way, right? There's some kids that didn't, that were traumatized.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a clear example where it could go either or. I mean, if you would have hit me, I wasn't gonna cry, but okay, cool. You know, I just gotta make sure I go run through. If you would have hit Massaquoi, you probably would have responded with you. Nobody's gonna touch our middle linebacker as a freshman. He was big and real. But at the end of the day, we all knew that, hey, you know, we want to be at varsity. So like, I respect some of those guys. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I think it happens when you have hazing where it goes too far, and then you see somebody that's not responding to it well.
Yeah.
Right.
You can
They're
really
broken.
break it down.
You know, you want to bend, but you don't want to break somebody. You know, but at the end of the day, like our toughest people that protect our country, they get hazed. You know, the Navy SEALs, right? Because of the mind, right? You want to be able to see how tough somebody really is. You know, because when you're at 40% and when you're so scared, you're gonna tap into the fight or flight, right? So at that point in time, you know, your body's ready to fight or survive. You know, but your feelings may not. So at that point in time, you start either brainwashed or somebody starts like reacting to that like force or whatever. But I feel like, you know, like you know, I didn't grow up with my dad.
Right.
But I grew up, you know, and I wouldn't say that. I grew up in the hood, so I saw a lot of stuff.
Same here.
And I wasn't gonna be a punk, you know. I used to fight a lot and all that stuff. But, you know, now I can't take some of that, and you know, just because I grew up in the hood doesn't mean I'm gonna act hood. You know, even now, a lot of my friends say, "Hey, you changed." It's like, yeah, I'm supposed to change.
You
know, but I'm still aware, like, you know,
Right.
like I'm a different person on the football field than I am, you know, when I'm not in the football field. You know, I'm a different person, you know, off the field than I am at work or in the locker room. It was time, you know, for us to like let loose. A lot of us were playing around, you know, you're at, like in college, you know. You told me the other day, like in the pros, a lot of the guys have families, so they're in and out. They're not really chilling there, you know.
Exactly.
Was it like that at BC?
No, at BC it's different because, like you said, everybody is changing at different paces. At BC, everybody's just in the college environment, and they're like, you know, I just think people's stages in life aren't as dramatic at BC. So everybody's in the locker room hanging out, enjoying themselves.
Right.
When you get to the NFL, everybody has changed dramatically and at different rates, especially like.
Money talks.
Exactly, like it's the weirdest dichotomy is the NFL because the poorest player and the equipment guy and then the richest, most famous person in the world all could potentially be sharing the same space, you know? It's just a weird dichotomy. So yeah, of course everybody is more individualized because you have to be, or you're a step behind. If you're not an individual nowadays, and that goes for what you said about kids, high schoolers, the teams aren't as good. They're not as team oriented because social media, everybody has a brand now.
Right.
I mean, pros have a brand because they're pros and they have millions of dollars.
Right.
Joe Schmo at St. Pius X has a brand because.
But you said pros had millions of dollars, but they also got there for a reason.
And they're
The best of the best. They had. I always say you gotta grind in the dark to shine in the light, and that's cool that you say that because I had some college guys contact me in some high school talking about sponsorship, and I'm like, well, like no, if anything, you should pay me,
Right.
You know, because I have helped you with this, and this. You're not ready yet, so I think, you know, a lot of those teams, it's a lot of eye, and eyes don't make teams.
Right.
Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna easily be beat because you don't have any roots, you don't have any locker room talks, you don't have any locker room fights. Now, West Georgia, we used to have the Dub G, and we used to wrestle,
Right.
right?
In the locker room?
Yeah, the locker
Yeah.
room. Because that's the time where it's like if a college man is just like you go. You get to the locker room, you know, and you only got a certain amount of time because you got to get taped, you got to get going, then you got the meetings.
Right.
So you haven't had time to even let loose, and then you see your boy right there, like, man, how's your day? And then, you know, you joking around. So like the people that I hung out with in the locker room, they're always like we're tough on each other,
Right.
you know. Or you know, even after practice, I mean, I had a lot of experience, good, bad, and like funny in the locker room. You know, we say stuff that a lot of people may not want to hear,
Right.
but it's a circle, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like it's so undervalued because a lot of times people want to keep playing because of the team.
Right.
You know, I always say team. I don't want to train by myself. I want to have a team because I grew up playing sports with a team. You know, my boys became my family, which were my teammates. And you know, I use sport and life and working out all like the same. You know, so like
Makes sense.
After you go practice, you got to go in the locker room. You got to clean up. You got to recover. You got to hit the ice stuff, whatever. But I definitely like how you say, you know, about there's a lot of eyes, but you know, and the difference between the pro, college, high school locker room, you know, that's crazy. It's different levels, you
Now,
know.
I want to ask you
High
something
school is
because just
very
how you say you was involved and you was in the hood just like everybody else. Everybody have an inner city, it depends on how you live. But what is your true definition of a high value man in your point of view?
I feel like responsibilities, and I feel like not only are they successful, but also, you know, they're helping the next man. They're, you know, there's someone that people look up to, not only in their family,
Right.
but also like people look up to them.
Right.
You could call that person because they're not just an I person, they're more like, all right, I got your back, your support. So then, because a lot of athletes are like the favorites in the family, but are they really that, like without football, who would they be? So I always take out the sports side, because I went through that. Like after college, I was like, okay, well now, and then time was ticking.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, what would I do if I wasn't playing football? And it's so crazy because I came home and Mom was like, man, I graduated. She's like, you should go back to school. And I'm like, what? I did 5 years, go back to get a master's? Nah. And then I thought, I was like, well, I don't have anything else to do. It's the easiest thing for me. I'm already there.
Right.
Boom, got my master's. But then that gave me another opportunity to play football. And everything was I, right? But I started training and we started U48 performance. But what happened was when I started giving, it became about you and you, right? And that was so crazy. I was like, wow, that's crazy because I did this for a selfish reason. But when I started giving back, it became more about other people, and I got obsessed with that. While I was still going through my own, I was trying out, I was working out. So like, I always judge people whenever they don't have sports in their life. Or let's say if you have 200,000 followers, what happens if your Instagram account gets hacked and you go to a different country? Who will you be? So then, because a lot of people just go off their titles and
And then we have to humble ourselves
Yeah.
too. What do you think?
I'm coattail off of what Manny said. I think a high value man is a giver, someone who has a plan of action, someone who understands that when life throws them a curveball, that they push back no matter what. I think that a high value man shows optimism in the face of fear.
Right.
A high value man, understands that I don't have everything together, but I'm willing to go out there and bring in pieces to help me get it together.
Being coachable.
Being coachable, of course, which, translates over to, sports. I also think a high value man is someone who takes accountability, someone who understands that where my growth comes at the highest point, but where I can keep going from is by being honest with myself. And because that's the number one first step to anything, is being honest with yourself. If you know you're not fast enough, then be honest with yourself and then start putting building blocks together to increase your speed. But if you're lying to yourself, right, you'll never really get as far as you want to go because there's no accountability in there. You don't know where to fine tune yourself. Right. So I think, those are some attributes of a high value man, and how it correlates with sports, man. I feel as though student athletes nowadays, they don't really have any independent thought. They don't really know how to think for themselves. Right. I think a high value man has independent thought. Doesn't look at his thought as, well, the opinions of others, well, is this really my thoughts? No. Well, if I don't want to do this, I don't want to do it. And I have a reason why I don't want to do it, because I have a plan behind the reasoning. Versus other people's opinions being my thoughts and me acting on those thoughts as though they're my own. So that's what I think a high value man is, especially in sports, man. I think a high value man is someone who's a team player, a leader, someone who's willing to be like, you know what, this is for the greater good. I go by this saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So bring it all home, let everybody eat off the plate, make sure everybody is nourished, make sure everybody's ready, equipped, and we can go out there and compete any day of the week against anybody.
Facts. I like that. I really like that. I really like that. Now, for you, Max, I know you had mother and father in your life, right? So how's that transition brings to you outside the world? Now you're into the NFL.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important things in my life to have both of my parents,
right,
2 older sisters, and a really tightly knit family. Both of my sisters played college sports. They set the precedent for me. So I was just a very competitive child, but I had the path already set out for me.
right.
If we're just looking at the 99% versus 1% in America, I would relate more to that 1% predominantly white family. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it's a blessing for me to be in that scenario. So what Manny said, how can I use that to do things that I wouldn't be able to do if I was in a lower bracket? You know what I mean?
Right.
I have to use those responsibilities that I was presented, like with great power comes great responsibility. Like, since I am in such a good place, I always have to be looking to give back and like help out.
Right.
And I think something that came to me was in college was leadership. That's what I always felt was my way of giving back to the greater good, showing a younger teammate that a clean, good path, being that good guy, being a good man, being a good leader is like the cool part of playing football, because all those guys feed off of that.
Right.
So I think, well, first of all, my family's great. I'm very blessed, and I always learn from them. I just want to use that knowledge and also help
Other people.
do my part.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Y'all got any more questions?
Yeah. So I used to ask this people all the time. We'll go around the room.
Right.
You go first. How does the world view you? And what do you think about the world?
So that's a good question, actually. And I'm gonna take this saying from Nipsey. And this is what happened to me when I was younger. Would you rather be peace at the world and mean war at yourself, or would you want to be war at the world or peace with yourself? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm starting to find my in tune with myself. Because before, I used to be like hella angry, like mad at the world, like why this ain't happen, why this ain't happen, you know? Sometimes God put things for a reason. Like, not everything's gonna be in the elevator.
Right.
You gotta take the stairs sometimes. And that's what builds you, your character, your manhood.
Climb.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So I embrace it.
Nice.
So every time I come out here and I train, I get 110%. That's just it.
That's real.
And then what do you think about the world?
Bro, it's like you create your own reality at the end of the day. At first, I was like, yo, you gotta listen to everybody else. At first, it's my parents like telling me, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But sometimes you just have to shut down and really like create your own reality.
Right.
Because even though they live their lives, they were born different era, and we live in a different era. Everything's changing. Everything's digital. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't put your foot forward and actually take action, then you will never know what the world is.
Right.
So sometimes you just gotta head forward.
Like that. What about you, Massaquoi? What do you think about the world, and what does the world think about Massaquoi?
I don't really care what the world thinks, to be honest. I care about how I view myself every morning in the mirror, and how I view myself will resonate onto the world. If I view myself as a caring, compassionate giver, loving man, you know, God-fearing man, a man who's willing to work hard for his goals, a man who's willing to push back at the world even though the world wants to push me down, then I'm sure the world will view me like that, because that's the energy I'm going to output. You know, growing up, you know, we live in a secular world. You know, you care about people's opinions and about what they say, and it wears you down. And the moment you just cut that off, and the moment you start listening to that voice, which matters the most, which is your inside man, if you create your inside man like the Hulk, you'll walk into the world like the Hulk, even being the smallest man. So I've always lived by that, you know, and that actually got me through harder times, because the world will fail you. The world will let you down. The world will tell you you're the greatest, and then the next day break you down in the newspapers. I've experienced it, man. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, so I always kind of walked with a chip on my shoulder like that. Like, I don't really care what the world says, as long as I'm honest with myself, I'm truthful with myself, and I got people that love me, and I love myself number one overall, I'm always gonna prosper.
I like that. That's deep.
Yeah, that's real, man. And I would say, because of the conversations we had, I think I'm ignorant to say that what I think about the world and what the world thinks about me, I think of that as just one thing.
Right.
Because, we've talked about how the only thing that matters is your inner, what you're telling yourself. And I love that. Self-talk is my biggest thing. That's what the gym is. What are you telling yourself in the head when you're tired or doing a rep? But anyway, so I would say, I think of myself as an optimist, a leader, somebody who is not paying attention to the outside noise, but like, the world, you can be on the bottom. The bottom is just a place, but up is forever. There's no cap to up.
Yeah.
You could be at the very bottom, rock bottom. You hit rock bottom, that's a place.
Hey, listen.
But there's no cap to going up. So, right.
You
So,
can't be bottom for forever.
so it's all about steadying that boat while you're going up.
Right,
You can only think about what you're telling yourself. You can't be like, oh, I'm the best. Oh, I'm the worst. You just gotta.
Stay in that middle lane.
That's what the world is for me.
Yeah. What about you, Manny?
So the world thinks that I work out 24/7. And I'm an athlete, I'm a football player, but in reality, like I'm very, very passionate about what I do and about winning. So, I believe if the world looks like me, it will just think exercise, it will think, you just go. But, I'm very caring. I want people to win. And, I love how you can create something out of nothing. And then I see the world as blue and red. So blue is positive, red is negative. So, and then you create what you see. So when you focus on blue, you're gonna be in a positive state of mind. When you focus on red, you're gonna find red. It's everywhere. So you kind of have to create that illusion, but at the end of the day, reality, because, like you said, your perception is your reality, and turn some of those red into blue, If it's raining, you can say, man, I'm getting wet. Some people are dancing in the rain, Some people are like, man, appreciate that rain because I was hot, So those are two things that, I look at, okay, this can either be blue or red. I'm gonna make it blue, and if it's red, I'm gonna handle it, and I'm gonna minimize it and make it more blue, That way, I'm not going up and down, because the world could be a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
And I look at the world like life is, without the world, you don't have life. Without life, you don't have the world. So those are kind of two things how I kind of view it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like 6'9", the 6'9" is more it means perspective. Like the world could be 6, the world could be 9. That's why it's optimism. That's what we all say.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yin and yang, same thing.
Yeah, because some people be like, man, life is tough. Man, life is easy. But it is what you make it.
It's like an inversion. What you perceive could be down could really be up. Just have to
Vice versa.
find some of your thought. So what, like, being an athlete, especially, us in our respective professions, being in the locker room, do you think it was a challenge, being committed and faithful to one woman? Like, how do you think athletes deal with that? Being that they get the attention, being that
I like this topic.
being that you're on that rock and roll, high life, people know your name, people know your last name, before you even step in the building, somebody saw you get out of your car and they're already following you.
Right.
What's a message we can give to up and rising young men, and also the women out there?
I think it's a little harder for this generation, just because surgery is getting better. I watched the video the other day, right?
Dr. Miami or
The
something.
women aren't getting better, just the surgery.
Look, no. Alright, this woman had no teeth. Man, she started doing makeup, started putting on stuff.
I seen that.
It's like,
I seen that.
Yeah.
And I feel like every girl's trying to look like a Barbie.
Right.
So then a lot of girls are acting like a Barbie. What does a
Right.
Barbie act like? You don't have any kids, boring.
All right.
So, but not just boring, but they don't really have a personality.
No true principles or characteristics.
And I think that it's just becoming like, relationship, because a lot of time, like us guys, I don't know about you guys, but I was really picky with girls that I like, and then, because I mean, I'm in shape, right? I take, like you said, I don't
You're
like.
a catch. You're a catch.
Yeah, I'm in shape. I like to, be fresh. If I stink, I'm in the gym, put on deodorant.
Right.
So I was always picky. So that kind of, I was always like, here and there. And then at first, throughout my first, I'll say from teens all the way to adult, I was more like a shy crowd. For one, I was never the guy that wanted to go up to a girl because I felt like that girl should come up to me,
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to sign third. So I mean, I feel like
that was man.
as an athlete, it's like I was picky, and then so I was able to kind of not be so out there,
Right.
and be more reserved. But nowadays is a whole different, because now I think the world got smaller, so the 7 degrees of separation that became closer, and then now somebody can know about you, or you can know about somebody,
Yeah.
and you guys haven't even met before.
Yeah.
So then now it's just like, okay, it's almost like an experiment.
Yeah. They're almost playing on things they already know about you to see if those things were either true or not. Right? They're almost hitting trigger points.
They'll know your 40-yard dash. They'll know how much, especially NFL guys, they'll know how much you guys make.
Right.
So it's tough to find somebody that really cares about who you are without football.
Right.
Let me ask you this question, because how long you been in a relationship?
3.5 years.
Okay, so you kind of know what love is. So what is love?
So love is basically like, if you wake up, you don't have to try.
Right.
You don't have to look. You don't have to try. You can just.
It's effortless.
It's effortless. Very effortless, right?
Right.
And then also is something that it's like eating a piece of chicken every day. It feels the same. So every day you wake up, you love that person.
You don't feel like you have to actively love, your significant other. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wake up, you have to actively show love or actively connect with her in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, I have to do a better job of that. So, because like I said, so one thing when I grew up, I had to be a little bit tougher. So my dad was in prison. I had an older brother, but so a lot. For me, I didn't show a lot of affection. I never really show a lot of affection.
It's tough love.
That's
It's not like-
that's the same.
And I give more tough love, and I feel like, hey, if I'm around you and you know me, and I, whatever, I don't like my mom. I don't tell her I love her, but I'll do anything for her.
Right. Okay.
That's
So
a
then-
part of sports too,
But yeah, I have to show it better, because then it may not seem like I love you. I may not say anything good about you. Like yesterday, I played, and I said, hey, Max, I really appreciate you. I really, I'm proud of you and all that. I may not tell you that, but I'm showing you that.
That's the point. And you were asking about sports players specifically, right?
Yeah.
Like in sports, if you're playing from when you're 10, 9, whatever years old until you're in the NFL, you're taught at all those practices, at everything you do every day, suppress all emotion.
Right.
Coaches literally say, my coaches literally say, we want a stone-eyed look in your face. They want you to be nothing, a killer. And obviously you talked about the SEALs. That's a whole nother level. But when you're in football, you're taught to suppress, do your job, work hard, and solve your problems with violence. So when you get to the crib and it's time to show affection to a girl every day or do other things, it's like we're taught to suppress emotions. So no matter what happens, you can handle whatever happens at home with just silence, not
And
showing no emotion.
And that's crazy, because I'm like, yo.
But sometimes
Shorty,
I guess that's the
Shorty
worst
could be
thing.
like this, and I'm like, man, I ain't even trying to hear nothing right now. I'm so into my own zone.
Well, that's because your identity is tied into your work.
Yeah.
And because your identity is tied into your work, I actually dealt with that. When I first got hurt, I was in a 3.5-year relationship. Manny knew my girlfriend. Him and Ashley came down to Nashville and spent time with us. And through that phase, I learned how to become an authentic man. And when I say learning to become an authentic man, I actually tapped into re-identifying myself with new values, new principles,
Right.
which then allowed me to actually, like Manny said, could I go in a different country, different world, start a new Instagram? People, I can produce content, okay, because I know who I am today. But when you're in that line of duty in football, you're so entangled into your work life that is life. Anything else is subliminal to it, right? If work's not going good, your emotions, your reactions, your attitude,
Just change.
your sex life ain't going good,
Yeah.
right? Everything's leans on, am I having success on the field?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Am I making the coaches happy? Am I performing? Am I putting up numbers? And so, you know, a lot of men deal with that, and it actually cripples them from actually having a healthy relationship. Because because the woman doesn't know how to respond to that. Because we're all used to, hey, the men on the field, hey,
Yeah,
you
let's go
perform, I perform.
Okay.
Right.
You do your job, I do my job. And if you don't do your job,
Then
then
we on your ass.
I can't really rock with you
I
like
got a
that.
scenario for you guys, right? Since we have different age, what's your target market? What, between teens and all the way to 35-ish, 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, people 50 probably not on YouTube. Please not.
38.
Okay. Well, 38 is like 48 now, so okay. All right, we're gonna go all around. All right. What is a guy who's playing football, right? In high school, he's the man. He's a 4 or 5 star.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is his view? What do you think is his view as far as like when it comes to girls?
Oh, they're objects.
Objects? What about you?
Same here.
Yeah.
Tootie and booted.
I think it's all just a stigma. Like, I gotta pull up on this girl and act a certain way
Yeah.
so that she feels sexually attracted to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's all a stigma.
And I think they'll probably be like, yeah, just look at my stat, look at my Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
I have to pull
But
up
the-
like a
you know
certain
what?
type
Well, that's the world we live in, though. You know?
confidence.
The second scenario, college dude, right?
Yeah.
So coming out,
First
he's
round pick.
junior, right? He knows he may have a shot at the NFL. He has a lot of followers.
Right.
You know. He's living good. He's making plays. He's on ESPN, playing for a big school. What's his mindset like when it comes to girls? Is he like locked in with one? Is he like?
Oh yeah,
married?
you're definitely locked in with one because you understand.
As a
Nah,
junior.
I-
No.
As
As a junior.
So your junior year.
My junior.
No, you
year-
have to say you, but.
Okay. we don't want to vicariously live through me.
Hey.
Okay, but I mean, in college, during my junior year, when I knew I was going pro and I knew that I was going big, you know, I did seek out and want somebody close to home.
Okay.
Someone I could share that experience with, because going to the top is lonely as the bottom. And actually the predators get worse when you're at the top, because you don't know if a woman really likes you for you, right? She may play onto your feelings, right? The sex may be bomb, right? She may smile in your face. She comes from a great family, but guess what?
Her attention's not good.
Her intentions ain't good. And because her intentions ain't good, and because you're so clouded up with the sex, the loving, she cooking for you, right? She talking sweet pillow talk to you,
Yeah.
right?
I know how that is.
Next thing you know,
Yeah.
next thing you know, she has your game, she rocking your jersey. Next thing you know, right? One of your boys in the locker room probably hit her back, you know, probably has a situation with her back when before you even met her.
Yeah.
Right? Prime situation. Colin Kaepernick and his defensive player one time were messing with the same chick. Didn't know.
So what you're saying is bypass all the concern about getting girls if you are that junior who has a shot and has a famous social media page, like, because you were before that time, but
Right.
you're saying if you got a shot at the league, your issue is not getting girls, it's getting with the same girls as other dudes are getting with.
No.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying,
I
right?
mean, this is what I'm saying.
Like, you want a new girl that nobody.
No, you want something. You're not getting with girls who other guys have been with. What I'm saying is that you don't want to be put into that situation, because the higher you get, the predators are way more smarter. They probably did mess with your teammate, right, before you even got into the league, right? and now you met her and you thinking that
So,
she's.
but what if this kid is just on the up and coming? He don't have predators yet, but he's getting at his various women. in college.
Well, then he needs to. This is what I'm saying. If that's the case, then he needs to go ahead. From my mindset, and what I would recommend to him is, hey, either stay single, or find you one shorty and lock her down.
Okay, I got you.
Period. You know what I'm saying?
She'll know you from that time.
She'll know you from that time period. She will see the rise. You'll have a greater appreciation for the
Fork in
relationship.
the road, so you can either go here and stay faithful, tie something like that, or you could go left and just start.
Yeah, I mean, even when staying faithful, even with
No,
staying
it's more than two roads.
No.
yeah,
It's
There's four avenues right here.
But think about it. One of the avenues, man, if you do choose to stay faithful with a woman, man,
And
during
why
that
do
period
you
of
say
time.
predator?
Oh, because the women are predators.
They are
My
predators.
God.
Women are predators.
You saying the predators?
Women, hey, they will prey on you.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
saying just because you reach to the top, they already know who you are.
Right. They don't know what's gonna happen.
They already know. They're
preying- they're preying on you.
They already at your practice waiting on you.
They've already
With dinner.
No, they've already scouted you 2 weeks before they put themselves in a place that you were
Through
going
your
to
story, through your selfie game.
Thank you. Oh,
At the event.
you know what I'm talking
Through your
about.
selfie game at the
Hey,
event.
this is what I'm talking about. They will watch your story. They will already know who you are,
Yeah, you're
right?
fine.
They'll see your Instagram. They'll be like, "Oh, he's at so and so. You know what? I'm gonna be there tonight,
Let's be.
and I'm gonna make sure I walk by his
That
section."
happened with Jordan too.
Let's,
Jordan had like a lot of girls praying on him. They had like a whole company.
let's be 100 though, because
Like that, yeah.
100%.
After got Jordan.
No, he do.
The majority of Americans now they're overweight, and then when you see like an athlete, I'm being serious though.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're taking that so loud.
And you know, 6% of us is like you all worked out. We're
Yeah,
attractive,
so
this and that.
so then we're dealing with the top triangle that everybody's trying to get.
Right, and not only that, but think about
So there's
this.
gonna be overlap.
Think about this though. Think about this. I'm gonna actually mess your head up. A lot of women are feared of men like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they know that
Well,
we are a high value man, and
At the-
honestly, we could really walk into a room and bag any female in there. And so, even if a woman's a high value woman, being with a high value man, and she has insecurities, her biggest insecurity is, can I trust him to the powers that he has? Like you said, Manny, hey, a chick will come talk to me. I'm the same way, right? Listen, I don't need to talk to you. I know who I am. I know how I look. My conversation game is on point. I'm a smile. You know what I mean? Da 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 da. I don't need to talk to a female. I already know you looking at me, and I don't gotta look at you.
right.
But can a high value woman trust a high value man in that situation and in a pack of wolves and know that he's not gonna let go and be like, you know what?
Bunch of bolsters out there.
Well, first
Let me
and
give you
foremost, the point was that it was high value was based on if you're overweight or in shape, because athletes, you said. So like athletes already have a step ahead. They got confidence because they got the body, so they go
Right.
pull up.
But what about old linemen?
Nah, I seen
They-
some.
they're-
Oh,
they-
why?
They get prayed on the work.
Wait,
Nah, but they still have the confidence to pull up.
They do.
They
Yeah,
they still are high value men.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying with the weight wise.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So-
I'm saying
But
that.
yeah, they still have the same pool game.
So,
I seen
so
some on
potentially
this
you're
line
right.
was
If you have two
like,
fit,
yeah.
if you have two fit ass people, the more than likely they're going to be the popular ones in their friend group who get all the attention from other people.
Right.
So when you go to a club and you really see a really good looking girl,
Right.
can you even wife that? Have you guys ever met a girl at a club and continued a big time relationship
No.
with them? Because isn't she there for the same reason? She's got her eyes on guys. You got your eyes on girls, right?
Or maybe not. Or maybe she's like this.
On the
She ain't looking at her like she's good.
That too.
But,
No.
but if you're that, what is that? Is that junior that's about to go to the NFL?
Yeah.
What's his mindset like when it comes to girls? You gotta also think about like the
It
quarterback.
depends. It depends what kind of scenario the situation is. If you already have somebody you're already pregnant, got somebody pregnant, then he's already on a mindset of like, yo, I'm gonna settle down because want to go into that next level.
So you think they should get somebody pregnant?
No.
That's it. I'm just saying.
So they should not.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
There's
there's
two.
guys-
Yeah,
I mean,
wrap it up,
yeah.
guys. Wrap it up.
There's some guys that already have like ladies from high school and they already have kids. So
Right.
I gotta make it to be my family.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like if it's,
Their
it's a
mentality is
single
different.
Yeah, they're
different.
like,
Yeah.
I gotta support. I
Right.
have to do.
I mean, if you're a junior and you're on that high life, I mean, honestly, I mean, you're not really thinking about any females. You're thinking about getting your bag.
Think about yourself.
You know what I mean? You're thinking about
Yeah, if you're not in your bag,
You know, you're in your mindset. You're like, yo, when I get there, I'm gonna meet someone
Somebody.
of my social status that either is in my financial bracket or in my social status bracket, right?
Right.
Through a friend, whatever meeting. A lot of times, a lot of guys end up doing that. You know,
Yeah.
those guys who have, you know, high school sweethearts and college sweethearts that was there with them. That's good for them. You know, you're in a small percentage.
That's real love.
That's real love. That's real love. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations along the way. You know, a lot of things that, you know, you need to secure as a woman. You know, let's think about this, right?
What about you, Max?
So I'm gonna talk about me personally. I was giving you guys all devil's advocates. Me as a junior in college, I mean, I didn't have that big of a following, but I felt like I was that guy up there in Boston.
Right,
I was a starting
right.
linebacker, so I knew a lot of people, hung out. I went to parties on campus and this and that, but my junior summer, I can remember I was never so focused in my life because I knew I had a shot. It was junior year. I had figured out my way around campus. I knew how Boston College was. So I was in my bag. I always said like at junior year, I'm gonna have a girlfriend to settle down, but I didn't even need one, you know, like I was just focused.
So you did have that mentality though.
But he was more for I.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
was thinking I need a girlfriend so I can relax and go to the room and she'll just be there, you know, it was
Right.
selfishness. So I'm glad I didn't.
But it didn't happen.
But I didn't have to, you know.
Right.
And I've been in Athens and hung out with my buddies at Georgia before. I'm glad that city and that party life wasn't just down the street for me to go to. You know, BC's a smaller school.
Yeah.
It ain't shit going.
Yeah.
So that helped me too.
Okay,
Right,
stay
right.
focused and stick around.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
But that's how I feel. Junior year, if you cannot get in that mindset, then you probably aren't gonna last long anyway. You know.
Right.
What about
Get in your bag.
boom, already drafted into the league, got the bag.
That's a hard time.
That's a hard time, bud.
So it is hard time.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know that.
Listen.
They think, cause now you gotta be
People don't-
listen,
people don't want to hear that either.
Listen,
Oh,
you
it's
start-
hard time. I don't feel like working
listen,
out.
million.
This is like you start
No.
connecting the dots and
Yeah,
shit.
people-
Now you got to stop answering the phone. Okay, first of all, like you're gonna get hit up by family members. Give me 5K. Nah, not 100, 200, 300, 5K, 10K. Hey man, I gotta pay my bills and all that.
Oh yeah, that
I'm
happened to
probably
me.
not you, Max,
That
but-
happened to me for sure.
Yeah, but then now the girls you kind of she's bad, but she's a predator. You like.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So you're not even trying to be like
I mean-
yourself with that person, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there were chicks. I mean, clearly, you know, I'm a local guy. You know, went to high school here, went to middle school here, got drafted back to the Falcons. You know, I really came here at the beginning of when the city was really turning up in 2012. You know, you had the Migos come out, Future come out. You know, the whole city was wild. You know, like the music industry was really boosting up the city.
What about
So-
Buckhead?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Buckhead, man, it was wild, right? But you had women that I had encountered who I didn't know, but they knew of me.
Ooh,
That's what I mean by a predator. They knew of me,
dang,
so they basically already had
research.
data on me, right? And would come at me like
Google.
they didn't know me. So I would be rapping with them.
Wow.
And I'm thinking this is brand new information, and then eventually they slip up and be like, I knew that, and I'm like, I'm like, how'd you know that?
So now you don't know which one.
Now
Good girl,
it's
bad
a
girl?
turn off because now I'm like, whoa, right? My signals are like, whoa, you gotta watch this or you need to cut this off
Yeah,
because
but that comes with being a big deal, don't you think?
I
mean,
think it does.
You went
You
into
have way more responsibility.
Right, but you went into the city knowing that there was going to be some girls that knew who you would be.
Absolutely.
Hoping you were going to the city hoping it was some girls that would be like, Mass, can we get a picture?
Oh, I didn't hope I knew.
Right, it's new, it's new.
Right,
But I'm
right,
saying,
right,
but I'm
right.
saying, you don't got no problem when you're walking down the street and a couple of Johns see you taking pictures.
Oh, no doubt.
You like that.
No
You
doubt.
like
But
that.
what I'm
So,
saying
yeah.
is that I would not wife something like that up. Okay.
She's not the good girl.
I would not wipe that up because too much information could lead to you premeditating your moves with me, which to me is dangerous because that's not authentic.
That's set up.
So you should have
See what I'm saying?
You
Yeah.
should have settled
You
down.
sabotage. You're like manipulating the
It's not
situation.
pure, it's not a pure introduction to each other.
You're manipulating the situation.
It's sad because
So you
nowadays
should've
I think
settled down
it's-
your junior
that's
year.
normal. It's normal.
I mean, yeah, I should have, but once again, it was all I, you know. You know what my university campus had to offer wasn't of my caveat. You
Now
know?
it's different though.
It's
Now
kind
it's
of normal
different.
now though because everybody's like you said on the internet and everything.
They're
You
diving in.
You kind of know people before you even shake their hand.
But think about it. If you're a
Not
junior,
know,
if you're a junior at a high profile college, and you meet a chick who's you know, a bioengineer student who's potentially gonna make six figures coming out of college. I want that woman
Why?
because that woman to me
Okay, I got a
is
question.
high value.
I got a question.
Right?
I don't think a lot of these guys are even meeting people out. They're meeting them on social media. before.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. A
Like
lot.
there ain't no, oh, that girl over there. No, because then that girl over there is not even gonna pay attention. A lot of girls
Oh,
like bougie.
speaking
So
of
like,
that.
so I always said, right, when I was single, I was like, man, that girl's not even that pretty, right? I went up to her, she gave me attitude. You're not even that pretty.
Speaking of
Why?
that.
Because she thinks she's, so I think a lot of people are, and that's actually how I met my girlfriend, which, will be my fiance. It was on social media.
Okay.
And now I was like, man, she's too good to be true. I didn't even meet her. So even so, I saw her, right?
Yeah.
Because then, remember catfish?
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people's using a lot of filters, bro. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I want to see the person.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, yeah, it's better to connect. I can connect better.
Yeah.
Now it's harder because you don't know what type of person you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
Rather than meeting somebody out and it's a natural, oh, she's cool, she's
Yeah,
pretty.
it's
You know,
normalized now. Just how.
And then especially you in Vegas, you don't even know. People go out to Vegas like they go to LA.
Man, you don't even know if it's a man or a girl, man.
I mean, you could. That's an issue here in Atlanta too.
I think it might be higher profile than that.
Yeah, so you're gonna be like,
You're gonna be like, whoa, looking at the legs all the way up.
you're gonna have to like bring a tester like it.
Yeah.
A tester.
But yeah, man. I mean, the women out here are different nowadays. Like I said, if I could revisit my junior year, I definitely would have settled down with that chick who was inspiring to be a lawyer, knowing that she's gonna make six figures out of college.
No,
No.
so no, it's not about the money
What?
though.
No, it's not
because-
about the money.
No,
but
because
it's
you're-
about the vocational purpose and what comes with it. If
Well,
you're
okay.
a respected lawyer and you're
Hold on.
making six figures, there's nothing wrong with saying
No.
that. I'm leaving college to go make six figures.
So will you
Or
prefer a girl that has a lot of money, is sort of independent, she's with you but she doesn't really need you,
Yeah.
or will you want to be the person that's like, hey, I got you, I got us?
I mean, I want a woman that's independent because that's kind of like how I am as a man. I sort of need you, but I don't need you. So I think like there's an even balance for that,
Okay.
right?
Sorta need you.
Like,
I like that.
I hear you.
you get
though,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's
That's
kind of
so
like
true.
I want a woman that has that mentality because to me, that's a high value woman. Because with me or without me, she will continue to have high value. So me as a high value man, it's like, yo, I'm independent. I sort of need you, just like you sort of need me, because we want this connection. We want to love each other. We want to support each other. We want someone there that's
I get what you're saying.
that's
It's like
solid.
an equal balance when it
Yeah.
comes down to that.
I
So-
gotta get another scenario.
Go ahead.
Alright, so think about three people, three of your friends,
Okay.
guy friends.
Mhm.
Right now you're live. You two. Just
Right.
think about it. Close your eyes, think about it. Okay. Are they single? Are they married? Are they engaged? Whatever. Start with you, Max.
Single.
All three.
I'm thinking of three right now.
They're all single.
Yeah.
So that most likely either they're in the NFL, they just got done playing college, or they're
Just got done with college. I'm thinking of three that don't play in the NFL.
and they're single.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have two. Actually, I have one that's married. One is with somebody for 2 years, and other one's single.
Okay.
One's married, one's engaged, and the other pretty much engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the guys I was thinking
Yeah.
are either in a relationship or married.
Right.
So my whole point of saying that is our guys have more trouble like committing to somebody because of all this noise going around.
Let me
And
ask
then,
you-
right,
The noise.
you know how divorce rates are up,
Right.
you know?
The
Like,
average marriage in America right now is 8 years.
right?
It's
Because
not the norm.
a lot of them are getting divorced because of Instagram or some BS, you know?
If you- if
There's
you-
a lot of temptation.
If you're married, I think Instagram possibly needs to go out the window.
Let me
Dead
ask-
ass though.
let
Like,
me-
if you're
let me-
married,
Yeah, like, I think, like, I
if
think,
you're
like-
married, you have Snapchat, you're borderline crazy.
No, dude, parents went from
You're
Facebook,
borderline
now they're on
crazy.
Instagram.
Right.
They gonna take over Snapchat. They coming for you. And TikTok. I'm telling you.
I don't see TikTok.
Do you remember when we used to like be on Facebook cursing and all that?
Oh yeah.
And it was
I thought
fun,
Facebook
it was
was
just
the
us.
most highest thing. I was like, yo, this
Dude,
is.
I don't even go on
what it
Facebook
is.
anymore.
Facts.
Let me
No,
ask you this
neither.
last question here, because women, they say they talk
They
about
coming for you.
they talk about their insecurities. Do you think men talk about their insecurities?
No.
Nah.
Why is that?
Only
I think real men who are looking for real feedback, and if you are a man who is real with yourself and you're talking to your buddies just like we're having a regular conversation,
Yeah.
you can detect his insecurity and speak on it without him knowing that you see it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So if I'm talking to Max and he's talking to me about something, and I'm like, man, I'm like, bro, a little insecure here. I won't tell him, but what I verbalize to him will be predicated to his insecurity that he's not trying to tell me about.
so like I always tell guys, would you let your girlfriend or your fiance or your wife go train with a trainer like you or like somebody else?
Right.
See if you're insecure or not.
That's true.
No, you shouldn't. If
I would. I
you
wouldn't
shouldn't
either.
be insecure.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you shouldn't be insecure.
Some guys are, some guys aren't.
If you trust your girl, number one,
Right.
and she does something like that, then guess what? She's not for you. What's
Right.
meant for you is meant for you. Like,
But also a lot of these relationships, I think it's an excellent relationship if you are sitting there sharing your insecurities with somebody else. A lot of these relationships are just surface level. We go have beers, talk about the ball game,
Right.
talk about maybe how our families are doing.
Right.
But insecurities, that's another level. And those are the people that, are married and they have great relationships. Like when they're actually, like you said, you might not say, oh, they're insecure about this, but then you'll put the conversation in that way.
Right.
So that you
So-
can help push them forward. That's
so they can come and actually bring it to
right.
surface.
And that's when you have excellent friends or,
Yeah.
or a significant other you love and you spend every day with.
Yeah, because I feel like you have to talk about the insecurities because then those are going to create a huge problem. So, like, especially me and my girlfriend, like, yeah, let me know because I may not know I'm not good at something. I definitely don't show a lot of emotion when I'm like when I think I'm showing emotion.
It's not good enough.
It's like I'm not a mind reader.
I don't
Right.
tell my mom that I love her, but I love that one. I love her. I don't need to tell her every day.
Right.
Or my brother, but I love him. I'm not gonna tell him every day. I'm just not that type of. Like I'm not gonna walk in high school. I used to I couldn't walk around holding hands with my girlfriend. I think that's corny. You walk around, but that's just me.
Right.
But then if she's like big into that, and if her sixth senses of love is touch, then I have to be aware of that. So self-awareness. So you got to know, okay, all right, are you not good at this? But that really means a lot to her.
Right.
Or with you guys, I got to be like, because think about it, if you're not insecure in football, right? You get, and then coach yells at you, or if I say, hey, you're slow and all that, you're gonna be hurt. Instead of saying hey, how can I get better?
Absolutely.
So you gotta humble yourself for one, and you gotta know that, hey, I may not know everything. So that comes with being coachable and knowing more about yourself. If you don't do well in this area, let people tell you that, hey, you're not good at this area. And then, like you said, be honest.
Yeah.
And then boom, that way, you could fix it, or if not, know that you don't do well in that area so that you won't put yourself in that situation. So I mean, I think a lot of it is like humbling, because football players, right? We walk around with an S in our chest, right?
Yeah.
And I remember since I've been doing combine training, these guys are putting it all on the line. But week 4, we always meet with people, and then literally, you know, I'll like, I'm not sure, like, you haven't done an interview, but we'll talk to them, man, what's going on, blah, blah, why are you not like, yeah, we had so many guys just bust out in tears, man, I'm dealing with all this. Like, bro, it's cool, bro, I'm dealing with the same thing, and it's okay to deal with that. So I think a lot of guys are not gonna like let go, because like you said, you know, coach, like they groomed us to be that tough, Spartan man that, you know,
Right.
don't cry, don't do anything.
It's
but-
societal views, you know,
Yeah.
it's societal views of what the perception of a man is. You know, a man shouldn't have, you know, empathy, a man shouldn't have compassion, a man shouldn't have emotions. You know, a man just needs to be a worker, a provider, and steel tough. You know, and beneath all that steel is a bed of emotions, you know what I mean?
A lot of emotions.
And when they are suppressed because you have to perform or you have to articulate your manlyhood or high testosterone, you know, those things actually break down a lot of men. That's why a lot of men do lean on their woman to be strong, because they where they lack that strength in the real world, that's just a mask. Their woman helps make it up for them by supporting them, by encouraging them, but through affirmation, through prayer, through fellowship. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I experienced that personally, like I
What
said.
is prayer?
Well, prayer.
Nobody prays anymore.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying that.
Well-
I'm saying that.
well.
I just said that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people do pray. But I feel like they're trying to take that religion out of it.
Well, I mean, like, you know, even from a sidebar of that, you know, your mindset is made up of your habits and your environment. And so when I say prayer, meaning like what you share, that connection with, you know, who you're intimate with, who you consider your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, what you share together right there is bigger than what's happening on the outside world. So however you two communicate or have that relationship with whatever you believe in, that is then going to lead to you taking on bigger and little battles and not letting them creep into your subconscious, which will affect you on your day-to-day tasks.
To time, like coming to a soul.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
when they say, like whenever people get married, you know, become one in the
You
soul.
do.
Right.
You come.
Now
It's not-
you don't
it's
care
not
about
like-
those things. You're not gonna be insecure about your girl doing this or that.
Oh no.
You're like, man, we're so deep like that. If we do have an issue, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, you would feel it. You would feel it.
So you guys believe in soul ties?
Yeah.
I do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's a soul tie?
Ooh,
Roll
young
Tide.
bucks, young bucks.
Roll Tide.
Soul
That's a
tie.
soul tie.
Instead of like soul mates, we have a soul tie.
Yeah. So for example, like,
So you tie your soul to somebody?
yeah. So for example,
Yeah,
like,
we got this bond, this unique connection that you guys can finish each other's sentence and shit like that.
And that's who you should marry?
No.
No.
You can have soul ties with many people. You know?
Yeah.
So for example,
So
like
can you
say
so-
for example you had, you know, intercourse with a shorty back in high school,
Mhm.
right? And to this day, to this day, right?
Have you reminiscing?
She goes through your mind.
Yeah.
And you can hit her up out the blue right now. Not saying that y'all have sex again, but it'd be like that connection where you picked up where you left off, even though there's been so much distance in between y'all.
Okay, soul tie's fine.
You get what I'm saying?
Soul
You get what I'm
ties.
saying?
Yeah.
You can have soul ties with like 10 different women. You know what I mean?
But does it doesn't have to just be women, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's sexual.
no, it's not just sexual.
It's not platonic.
No, it is platonic as well. I take that back. It's platonic, it's sexual. You can have a soul tie with, you know, whatever that experience is. You get what I'm saying? You can have a soul tie like a homie on the battlefield. Like, man, we balled out, right? Yo, we got a soul tie because, you know what, we were all one on the field that day.
Yeah.
Like
You know what I mean?
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. They got a little connection. So they can go ahead and like, oh, okay, I'm gonna hit a quick snap. Right there.
They already know.
There's a signal.
They tied in, they locked in.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like, hey, I can describe my
I
boy.
believe in that.
I can describe my boy without him being in the room. But if I feel as though like he coming, like I kind of already it's like that sixth sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you.
It's like, damn, like, I looked up for the ball. I didn't even really get the signal, but he just knew. He just knew, just by knowing who I am, that I was going to look over my shoulder at that moment and catch the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's dope.
anything else more about girls? I have a question more about like football
Okay.
and like your journey.
Okay.
Okay, so like, what was your best play ever? Like, what was your best play ever?
My best
Best
play
play ever.
My best play ever. Whew, I got, man.
Yeah,
never,
Manny?
never. Yeah, I do.
Nice.
Can I say two?
Yeah.
I.
But you gotta be like that play, that special moment. Where you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Ooh," you know, we have those good plays.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of dream about it, boy. You be like, ooh,
Man.
you be happy as hell. You be like,
One of my best plays was in Candlestick playing the San Francisco 49ers. Colin Kaepernick was quarterback. I was going against their left tackle, he was a Pro Bowler guy. I remember coming off that day, my back had spasms. And they put the icy hot, like the red one, like in the locker room. They slapped it on my back.
Right.
And I mean, that thing, I was throwing trash cans. I could barely move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that game was such an impactful game. Of course, we lost with an interception on the goal line, throw by Matt Ryan. But Harry Douglas got picked off, and Bowman ran it back for a touchdown. But prior to that, our defensive stopped, and I remember coming off the edge. I gave him a side swat, and I freaking smashed Kaepernick to the ground. Sack. That was the only sack of the game, you know? And it was one of the highlights of my career. And then also Lambeau Field, I had 2 sacks, 10 tackles, and we won that game, you know, playing in the snow. First thing in my mindset was, man, I remember playing, you know, Madden, Bubba Franks, Brett Favre, Bubba Franks a tight end, playing in the snow, and I'm like, man, I'm really here. You know, like 90-degree windshield,
It's
like
time,
0.
man. That's how you felt.
It's time.
I
You
remember
know,
that. I remember him. He was like, Massaquoi was like, I feel, come on,
I was fired
And
up.
it's the same way he acted in high school. So I was just like, man, but it's like your teammates weren't really fired up like that.
Oh yeah, well, you know, like we spoke about the other day, you know, big moments either create big players, because in moments like that, I thrive. You know, when it's like, you know, game on the line, everybody looking at you, the momentum's pushing, right? The intensity is high, right? I mean, you can just hear yourself breathing, even though it's so loud.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're
Those-
in your bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
those moments right there, I thrive because I know I'm about to make a play.
Yeah,
I know I'm about to, like, I would put any money on the line. Like, I know I'm about to make a play. You know what I mean? And moments like that is what creates those impact players and those players who literally can shift the momentum of a game. You know what I mean? Because it's like everybody else is worried. You have 11 players on the field. Remember, y'all all in a boat. Not everybody on the boat gonna be on the same wavelength.
Right.
They there, they rowing,
Right.
right? But they can be like, man, I don't know if we're gonna make it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you got another player who's like, man, I'm kind of going with him, but I'm still optimistic.
Right.
Then you got another player who's like, man, he don't know what's going on. He just want to play his role, right? Then you got another player who's like how I just described, like, yo, I'm about to make a play. You might have 5 other guys like that, right? And in that moment, one of those 5 guys, or one of the guys who didn't even think they were going to make a play, makes a play just off that energy alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Energy itself is like so contagious, especially when you build that confidence. When 5 guys have it, the whole team will have it.
Yeah.
So once you have that swagger, it just draws every team, like every player. Like, okay.
Yeah, he feeds off that one. What
Yeah.
about you?
So energy is the biggest thing for me in football. So like my best play, I think of it as a performance this last year, my senior year at BC. We played against Pitt, and like it wasn't even a highlight game. We ended up winning, but it wasn't even like the biggest game of my career. But I was out there we were out there for so long as a defense, and I'm experienced in playing a lot of plays, but I think it was like 125 plays or something.
Yeah.
And they were running tempo, we were running tempo. It was just one of those games, but I was experienced in playing a lot of plays. I never came out. I was the only one who did the whole thing. And it was like a play where there was a motion, and I'm playing Mike, so I'm bumping to now set the edge on who was the number 3. He was the blocker. It was going to be a jet motion.
Right.
So I'm bumping to set the edge on number 3, so my will linebacker, who's a draft pick, can come fill inside of number 3 and make the tackle. So as 3 comes to block me, he cuts me, and I push him to the side, but now I'm on like one leg. And the running back is coming, and I stick him, and I'm on one leg, and my buddy hits him too. So now I'm on the bottom, like, dude, I'm hurting. We like 98 plays deep. I'm hurting. So like, we both made the play. Like it was just a wreck. On me, that's textbook. Like, you gotta get outside number 3, and shit, I fell in on the tackle. You know, assist, get up, next play. But I got hit so damn hard. The wind was gone. Boom, I landed on the bottom, and he rolled over on top of the guy. But as soon as that happened on the tape, it's the most thing I'm proud of, like, ever.
Yeah.
On my college tape, on the tape, boom, I roll right over, I hop up, I'm on 2 feet. I go get my boy off the ground, who was the Will, who just made the play, who just ran me over.
Yeah.
I get him off the ground, and you just see us run off the screen right back to the middle of the field, because that's what we were doing. It wasn't about just like, you know, it wasn't about shining or doing this or that. It was just about the purity of doing your job.
Yeah.
Make the play. We back on 2 feet, right back to the middle of the field to get the call. That's what I was proud of.
I love
That I showed heart, that I showed toughness, that I showed leadership.
Right.
That's on the tape.
They show that you're gonna do it again too.
I don't celebrate that. That was my job.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's
I believe it was my junior year at West Georgia. So like, we were playing at Arkansas Monticello, which is not the most hyped up place, man. So everybody was dead. I had a cast. So I remember it was a 4th down. I tried to kick a field goal, and then somebody blocked it. So the ball just poof, popped in the air. And they're like, "No, get away, Peter, Peter." I said, "Peter, bro." Caught that. 80 yards, bro. And then our cornerback can't help that boy. And like on film, you look at it. I was like, bro, you hit like everybody was like blocking and all that. So it was like one of those plays that it just happened. We didn't practice for it, but you know, I was supposed to like get away from the ball. I caught it. My teammates held back and started blocking 80 yards. Boom. And then you know, it kind of like when I had a cast, when I played with cast, I focused more on tackling. So I was like literally, I'll hit you like my face mask here because I was more focused. And then I was just playing better, so I literally filled that punt clean, boom, took it 80 yards. So that was my first touchdown in college. But then I looked back at coach like, bro, you really wanted me to, you know, to drop the ball? Like, we're trying to win, bro.
Right.
And then my second one was in the CFL with Ottawa on kickoff. I remember the first kickoff I went down, did my job, and I ran into the wall, right? And he said, holding me. Bro, I'm like, ref. Like, it was bad. It was like this. It's like 3 guys. I'm like, all right, okay.
Right.
So the next one, and then, you know, this is like when I'm in the sideline, like the number 1s and 2s are going, and then you're like, all right, bet I'm gonna show out. You know, I already knew I'm gonna show out. But then on kickoff at second play, like, boom. And then Buddy just, I was like, oh, this is easy. And right there, I started playing the whole second half. But it was just like, all right, I'm about to get film, go to the NFL. You know, it was just like one of those things that clicked. You know, the first one I was like too worried about doing my job and all that, ran into the wall.
Right.
Second one, I'm like, I'm playing my game. I don't care if they call me on film. It was just like, I need to go make that tackle. You know, so those were 2. What about you?
I would say I had 2 plays. I was playing international, and like our starting quarterback got hurt. So we was on our 3rd string quarterback. Both the quarterbacks got hurt. And they stacked 8 men in the box, 11 men in the box, I'm sorry. And pretty much, that was like, you know how like when you first run the ball, you had to test somebody's will?
Mm-hmm.
First time, like, bow. And then once you break, I broke like a 50-yard touchdown. And it was like 16-18. And then our 2nd string quarterback trying to come back in, we threw a pick and we lost the game. Lost the game. We was winning 16-18. Just running the ball. And we lost the game.
That's crazy.
That's what's up, guys. Well, it's been real with the locker room chat.
Yeah.
You know, all the insight, all the input. You know, all of us have different backgrounds, man, but, you know, U48 brings us on in one hub, man, so it's really cool, you know.
I really
So
appreciate
cool, for
the
sure.
whole locker room vibe. I loved
Sure.
it. We should have the next one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you were to tell a kid or somebody, like, tell them words of advice from your journey, what would it be?
I would say, put yourself around the right people, create your routine, stay focused on your goal even though everybody tells you no, and believe in yourself.
I would say the same thing, man. If you create your own reality, regardless of anything, don't make nobody stop you. Just keep going. Your dream could be accomplished.
Yeah.
For sure.
Priorities, be optimistic.
Yeah, I'll say life is like a roller coaster. It's go up, down. You gotta strap that seatbelt on and just stay neutral, but then enjoy the highs and lows because that's what make your journey what it is. And then don't be a worrier. You know, people worry too much. Be a warrior. Deal with your situation and learn from it. And then you know, the next situation arises, man, just dominate. So just don't worry too much. Life is gonna be alright.
Yeah.
Eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, scoop of ice cream a day, and keep your weight up. Let's go.
Warrior.
You gotta finish your workout outside in the rain.
Yeah, I'm not doing mine right now.
I'm out of here now. That pod